evening, folks. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Jade.
I'm Kara.
And I'm Erica.
And this is Perfectly Marvelous, a podcast currently dedicated to the hit Hulu show Only Murders in the Building.
And today we're reviewing Season 3, Episode 7, CoBro.
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 Yes. And remember, we only put up part of our review on YouTube. We're only doing the theories portion on YouTube. So if you are into it and you want to see our whole entire review, the whole shebang, then go to patreon.com/perfectlymarvelouspodcast and you can sign up to be one of our most marvelous members. You can see the entire video, or you can just listen to the full podcast. All the links are in the description. And if you enjoy our videos, please like them, please subscribe to the channel, and leave us a comment. We got more comments this week, and oh boy, it makes me happy. So we love it. Thank you so much for engaging with us and subscribing. We've gotten so many new subscribers. It just warms the cold cockles of my black heart. My my evil villainous heart is warmed. Without further ado, let's get it going. Tits up, ladies.
Tits up.
Cue theories all alone in the podcast. Cue the theme music. So, theory time. Put your theory caps on. Put your theory beret on. All right, Erica, what you got?
So I feel this episode really, like I said, I like looked for like clues to how to kind of cross people off the list of like, there, it's obvious. I already said like there is clues about Howard, like, okay, he's definitely was not near the elevator at the time of Ben's murder.
Yes, that was a good one. That was a good call.
And then I know, and obviously Uma wasn't one of ours, but we know Uma wasn't there, but she's a witness. I think that I am leaning towards the Dickie is guilty, but guilty because he feels like he didn't protect Miracle Ben. Like there's that brother's guilt, that guilt of not taking care of the more loved sibling, and it's painful, and I sympathize. And I think even the end, because even though he's the one who purchased the hanky, I don't think if he was purchasing it to get rid of evidence, I think he would not have been holding it that way. I really am now one, we don't know anything about Bobo still. KT's still kind of questionable. Cliff and Donna are still questionable, but I still am going to stick with my gut that Tobert is involved now, even more so. I don't know if he's want to push him, but I think that he is there intentionally to either protect the real murderer or he was the murderer. So, and I really,
and why? And what's the thing that really makes you say that?
Because I think it's tying Cinda Canning into it. I think Cinda Canning is our big bad of this entire series. And I really do.
I think it.
She's the criminal mastermind.
I think she's a criminal mastermind. She was involved in all the murders in some way, at least not intentionally, but like she podcasted about the first one.
Yeah.
She tried to kind of gain what's the word, like she tried to capitalize on the original murder. And then of course let's look into what happened to poor Bunny, and the involvement was Poppy, and now like this, like she's like a criminal villain mastermind from like James Bond or something. She's really evil in a very subtle, very genius way.
Manipulative as hell.
Yes. And
so is Tobert. And the manipulation, he's really pushing this Bloody Mabel podcast, which
very
was
much
Cinda's invention.
Exactly. So I think I feel very safe to think that that's it. I don't trust him. He grosses me out. He skews me. He is extremely attractive, but he's letting it slip out. He's seeming to like, oh yeah, I'm like this cute guy. I'm trying to do like, to get, he knows how to get Mabel. Mabel is a sucker for like, for attention, and no, I don't mean attention, but like anybody who's treating her in a way, like trying to say, oh, I see you, Mabel, I want to help you. And I think I'm pretty sure that our friend over here,
all right,
and his stupid name.
So the who is the Tobert, the how is the, we don't know yet if he pushed or not, if he pushed Ben to his death. The why is because to help Cinda Canning. The why now, I guess again,
it could be revenge. It could be revenge. or it could be against
Cinda's revenge.
Yeah.
Cinda's revenge on Mabel. So you're thinking this is more of like a Cinda Mabel thing, or a Cinda
so.
Only Murders in the Building podcast?
It's a possibility. I think that that's like, and I think that even with her cold open, I think it was quite intentional. She's all in white, which is, you know, representative, like, you know, purity and a rebirth. Like I think
cleansing.
She's cleansing. No, she's, you know, the mother alien is growing back up, and she's going to come back and get her. Yeah, Queen Bitch is coming back.
Her rebranding is not quite working out as she would have hoped.
Right. All right, Kara, what you got?
I'm kind of along the same lines that Cinda is involved. I still think, for the most part, what I had said last episode about Cinda and this being a bigger plot than we see right now. I could see Cinda and Tobert somehow being connected. I could also see Dickie being on board to a certain extent. Maybe he changed his mind at some point, because he, you know, I don't think the Jade egg thing is a coincidence entirely at this point. It could be, but the fact that she made a reference to it, the fact that he threw that so angrily, who knows, like that could have been directed at Cinda. Like that could have been tied into this.
Maybe it's like a Faust
plot
kind of thing. Maybe it's like a Faust, like he signed his soul to the devil and said, "This is the devil."
And he could be regretting that. And who knows, maybe he backed out of some plot or plan that they had. I could see Cinda, you know, being in with Tobert, and Tobert being able to capitalize on, you know, Ben's fame and inevitable murder attempt. And I think it's quite possible that Cinda, Dickie, and Tobert were at least involved in the initial attempt. I still
the initial attempt to whatever made Ben collapse on stage.
Yes. Whether that be poison cookies or whatever. I think there's that plot
that was more
against him.
That was more Tobert Cinda is what you're saying.
Yes. And Dickie would be, you know, I could see him willing to go along with it just because of how much resentment he had. He didn't get credit for CoBro. This his whole life. He has been in Ben's shadow, but clearly he still has, it's his, you know, his brother he was raised with. And I don't think he's an evil person. So I could see him either trying to back out or being on board in order to, you know, get Ben either out of the picture or distracted and changing his mind. But I think that's separate from the whole elevator situation. I still think Dickie is Loretta's child. We had a couple more, you know, parental references in this episode. I don't think he knows that Loretta is his mother. I don't think that's in play yet. But I don't think I'm on board with Loretta being the actual killer anymore in any way, shape, or form. I do think she is going to somehow sacrifice herself for Dickie, because I think there have been multiple kind of Easter eggs and hints of this mother's love and sacrifice throughout the show. And I think that's where they're going with it. It would make sense to me. So I'm still on board with her somehow being involved in that way.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the elevator shaft and him actually being killed, I think those bloody fingerprints are not his, unless he was, let's say.
It is strange how those fingerprints were. I didn't even really think about it too much until you just brought it up. Like why
bunched?
the blood was, it almost, like you were saying, it looks like a prop person dipped their hand into red blood and just touched. It is like a plant.
It's possible that Ben went upstairs, was, you know, he left the hospital against medical advice. Maybe he was still a little delirious, still under the influence of something. And if he was coughing up blood again or something, maybe he wiped his mouth and picked up the handkerchief, fell down the elevator shaft. Don't think that's likely, but that's possible. I think it's more likely that he was confronted by someone, and there was either some sort of struggle, and this person accidentally or intentionally shoves him and kills him. The thing that I keep going back and forth about is, where did that blood come from? And I went back, I was like, I don't remember anybody having a cut that we didn't notice. Like, there was no subtle mention.
Might have to look at the party again.
Yeah. But maybe, I don't know, like KT or Bobo, we still, like you were saying, we don't know a lot. Yes.
And
at
Ty.
all. Like, we don't know a lot about
Ty.
them.
I don't know that they're going to come into play. I think they're just kind of set dressing.
That's the thing. Like, I don't have a who as to who actually actively killed him, but
so this is an Agatha Christie involved. It's an Agatha Christie thing, a trick to stuff the cast. Like Death on the Nile, good example.
Oh, yeah.
It is just as obvious as it seems, and then there's all of this story, extraneous side plot, distraction, like fluff, filler. And those are actually the Agatha Christies that I find the least exciting to read, because when you have that many characters, they get a little archetypal, they get a little flat. There's not a whole lot to them, and just not that interesting, and to the point where you can almost tell as you're reading certain passages, like, this is just kind of a waste of time, just meant to distract me from the real, you know, meaty plot that is the murder. And when it comes to this show, I love these side characters. I do. Don't get me wrong. The acting is great, but I can kind of tell, I think at this point, we're in season 3, there's a little bit of a formula. And like we had last episode with Howard and KT, it is kind of presenting, this is a suspect, and now we're going to give you an entire episode as to why it's not them. I haven't ruled out KT. Obviously, you can't completely rule it out, but we've ruled out Howard. We've ruled out Jonathan. I don't think that Ty is going to come into play at all. I don't know. Maybe he's going to, in the 11th hour, all of a sudden,
I know. Like, who's this guy?
He has not spoken a word except "I'm Ty" at the first table read. And he's like, this guy's so attractive.
I totally could see, you know, Cinda wanting to get back at the Only Murders podcast, somehow wanting to either interfere with them or capitalize on them. Ben is this big star. He's living in the building. Let's say they start sleeping together. Maybe she's, you know, using him.
You said this last time. I really get the sense that Cinda is not, that she's just kind of Tina Fey callback because love to see it.
That's why
I don't know why I get that sense. And I can't really base it in any evidence other than just the formula of the show. They're bringing some people back because it's fun. And I'm not that suspicious of Cinda. I don't know that she's got a lot to it. Also because of what you're saying about the jade egg being the jade egg that she mentioned in her privates, there was something that was said, and I don't want to burst your bubble here because it's a major thing that you're going on with the Cinda relation, because it is sort of similar. There's a mention of the jade egg. There's a green egg.
I have not been looking at articles or anything like that, so I have no idea what is actually going on.
There was interviews with the directors or the writers, it might have been with John Hoffman, I can't remember, on Only Murders in the Pod, and they talked about how Tina Fey did so much improv when she was she got the script, and when she was podcasting in her little intro there, she was saying, I did this and I worshipped my vulva and I blah blah blah, and then he just, after she had done all the scripted lines, he just said, okay, go be Tina Fey and just be amazing and come up with stuff on your own. And he couldn't remember at the time when he was interviewed. He was like, I forget what actually made it into the episode, but she had something where Tina Fey came up with a mention of a jade egg in her privates, and that was so funny to me. So it actually could be just a Tina Fey invention, and then a coincidence that there's this egg-like shape
that's
thing.
Jade.
Yeah, I mean, but it wasn't ever said it was jade. It's just a green egg, so it wasn't like called a jade, you know, anything.
I still think Dickie and Taubert I still think it could be some sort of plot, or Donna.
We didn't talk a whole lot about it in our discussion, but we did get more Donna and Cliff finally for the first time in a while.
And I want more. They were great. They're just
so great.
They really bring a lot in the little bit that they're there. But It wasn't, I feel like it just kind of reinforced that that Donna is the upper hand and she makes all the decisions and choices. But Cliff is the one that kind of saved the day. He's the one who had the connections to
Cliff
Matthew
is
Broderick.
pulling out all the stops, man. He is doing anything in his power, anything possible to make sure that this musical happens. He is like, this will not die if I have anything to do with it. So the only thing that we know really about Donna and Donna and Cliff, is that they have this weird dynamic, this weird mother-son thing that is questionable. And I do not think, I'm sure he's adopted, or they're just posing as being mother-son. And because they get, I don't know, because maybe they get a sexual kick out of it. I'm not sure. But the only thing that we know about Donna is that she doesn't think her son has any good ideas. He's a dumbass. That's
any talent, common sense.
Right.
No talent, because his stress dancing upsets her. He just wants to dance. Let me dance.
Like, everything you do is wrong, so just stop. And
let
me. It's funny to me though that she is helping him produce this show, clearly having zero belief in his abilities. She doesn't think that any of his ideas are going to be good. She discounts him all the time.
Kind of reminds me of Howard and his, memory of his mother after he was in the Crucible.
Yeah, a lot of bad mom action happened in this season.
Critical moms.
So, all right, I have a lot. I've done more research on the play Ashes to Ashes, because as I said last time, that play was not there for no reason. And when you Google it, it gives you, certain little breakdowns. But there was that one breakdown that I found. It says, a man interrogates a woman about her lover and involvement in wartime atrocities. The woman's haunted by appalling memories, genocide, deportation, and most disturbingly, a tenderly recalled masochistic erotic relationship with a modern Herod-like infanticide. I don't know how you can have a masochistic erotic relationship with an infanticide, but I think that might be like it might be like a typo. But then it says, in fact, she may never have experienced these things. So this play, I really want to read this play, and hopefully
it's
I'll have
all
time
a
to
dream after Oliver had his heart attack.
So when you look up Herod, King Herod, who appears in Salome, and we see the Salome posters all over the theater. And in the play Salome by Oscar Wilde, Salome is not Herod's sister, but in the Bible, there's talk of King Herod and this massacre of infant boys. That
Massacre of the Innocents.
Right. Yes. Massacre of the Innocents. Yes. So, so King Herod was, when I looked it up, a briefly description of who Herod was in this whole thing that is talked about in the Bible. It's only mentioned in Matthew 2:16, and it's widely debated whether or not this actually ever occurred. So when Jesus was born in Bethlehem, King Herod, who was like a very paranoid, egotistical dictator-like king, he heard of this birth of the new king, and he was freaking out because he can only be king. There's only one king, and it's me. So he ordered because he couldn't find Jesus, no one would tell him where he was. He ordered the death of every boy under the age of 2 in all of Bethlehem. So I found this on a YouTube channel called Desiring God. I'll link the whole video in the description, but there's just a little section of this when they're talking about King Herod that I couldn't ignore the similarity to Only Murders in the Building. So tell me what you think of this.
Successful, but there's another side to Herod. Explain the paranoid side of Herod that begins to emerge later on in his life.
Well, basically, he was responsible for many of the problems back home. His home was a can of worms, simply because he married 10 wives, and each of those produced princes for him, and each of those male princes was scheming to succeed as number one, and there can only be one number one. And so if there weren't 2 or 3 collateral plots taking place before they had orange juice in the morning, something was wrong. Josephus gives us just a hideous tale of what was going on in the family, attempted poisonings, one brother against another. It so rattled Herod that he actually put to death 3 of his own sons on suspicion of treason. He he put to death his favorite wife out of 10 of them. Mariamne was his favorite. She was a Hasmonean Maccabean princess, and he put her to death, and then he killed his mother-in-law. I should have said one of his many mothers-in-law. He invited the high priest down to Jericho for a swim. They played a very rough game of water polo, and they drowned him. He killed several uncles, a couple of cousins. Some have said he's a real family man in that negative respect. As a matter of fact, Augustus himself, to whom Herod was always very deferent, said, "I would rather be Herod's pig than his son." It's a double pun. In Greek, it's suos and huios.
Oh, yeah.
A clever turn on words. And the other idea is that at least pigs weren't slaughtered for human consumption over there, and they had a better chance at a longer life. So it was a brilliant pun on the part of Augustus.
Yes.
So there's it just stood out to me, the brothers maybe being against brothers in order to get to the top and to be number one. And when he said brothers poisoning brothers, then there's that whole pig thing. I don't know if this has anything to, I could be reading way too far into this, but
I don't think so.
In the Bible, Salome was Herod's sister.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, we also see these Richard II. We also see these Richard II posters, and I'm wondering if maybe that's just a signal that Dickie is obviously Richard Dickie. We make that connection in this episode because the R is actually Dickie's name. The R initial is Richard. So I think that these posters are just telling us Dickie 2. Dickie is number 2. He was second. He could be named after his father. He said he was adopted when he didn't say what age he was when he was adopted, but maybe he was a baby and they renamed him. I don't know. And or it just could be saying that Dickie is second.
He's the second seat.
Putting the theme of all these killers from Jan to Poppy, they want to be number 1. They want to be on the top. Is this too obvious though? Is it too neat and clean to have another?
That's the thing.
But it's not neat and clean because it's been very like all this
up in the air
is not like obvious. You have to really understand why they're.
I know. I feel like it's so obvious to me because I know Shakespeare plays.
Well,
and
there's
I'm doing
so
the research,
many
but
references in all of these plays that are all of these brotherly rivals. Like, it's just almost overwhelming that it seems very clear that Dickie, like, if Dickie did end up being the murderer, I think in looking at it through a real life lens, he would be the most likely person that would have a motive, like either out of anger, or intentionally. Like, it would make sense. I would completely buy that he killed his brother because his brother took credit for everything. His brother was this miracle child. Like, that would make sense. And it's because it's a show that makes me hesitate. That's the only
yeah, me too. Well, because at this point they want us to believe that Dickie did it. All the evidence is kind of pointing to Dickie after this episode, except for the fact that he clearly feels so bent out of shape about it. Whenever we see
conflicted.
Dickie, whenever we see Dickie in private, in his own space when no one else is around, he's upset and he's racked with guilt. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure though if that's. I feel like that there could be a reveal where he knew that Maisel and Taubert were in the armoire all along, and he was putting on an act, or like I can't explain the end with the handkerchief unless all we do see is him in Ben's apartment alone. But I don't know. Maybe someone could be watching. I don't know. There could be a twist when turns out that he's actually putting on a facade.
You're hoping.
I do think there is just too much to ignore when it comes to brotherly conflict.
Yes, and also in Hamlet. There is the brother thing in Hamlet. I said it last week. Hamlet is very upset with his mother and father for putting on this fake show of grief, not really being sorry for the death of King Hamlet. Well. And when we had all this CoBro, right? The Cobra brother, right? Ew. So in Hamlet, there's an analogy that Shakespeare uses to call Claudius a snake in Act 1, Scene 5. Hamlet says, "'Tis given out, sleeping in my orchard, a serpent stung me. So the whole ear of Denmark is by a forged process of my death rankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, for the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown.
Mm-hmm.
So they're likening the brother who killed him by pouring the poison into his ear, a snake. Gertrude knows the wine is poisoned at the end. Last week, Kara, you and I were talking about, well, is there any play references of mothers saving their sons? Like, I don't know. Hello, Gertrude drinks the wine to save Hamlet.
That's true.
At the last minute, Gertrude sacrifices herself for her son. So, and also there's a mention of Gertrude in Hamlet where she talks about there's a curse on her.
Mm-hmm.
She feels like cursed or something. And that's a similarity between Oliver and Loretta, where they both say, well, maybe I'm cursed. They both use that word. And I don't know, it could be Loretta just trying to cozy up to Oliver by saying, oh, we have something in common. Or she could be, I took her to be truthful. I took Meryl Streep to be truthful. So I think, though, getting back to the Salome connection, I think that possibly these Salome posters and Richard II posters are not saying to look into the Shakespeare play. They're just trying to give us a name. They're putting a name in our minds because Ashes to Ashes has so much of similarity to this infanticide, just like King Herod. Herod had a sister in the Bible. It was Salome. So I think that they're just signifying that Salome is Herod's sister. So in my mind, I'm thinking Dickie had an abusive father, Loretta's brother. I've said this from the beginning. I do not think that Loretta is his mother. I do not think that. There's too much evidence there's nothing pointing to mother. Everything is pointing to, it's like her speech. You were saying a couple of podcasts ago, Kara, she stands right there at the very start of the show and she tells us, this is who I am. She says, I have to be, am I the child's mother? I have to be mother-like. I have to, when it's just me with this child, I have to protect them like a mother would. She never says,
but if she's
is the mother
his
herself,
birth mother, she's not the mother who is, he's not in her charge. So like a mother would, I still took that as,
Yeah, no, it could be either way. You're right. I think that what happened was Loretta took Dickie from away. I think that what happened was Loretta's sister, Dickie's mom, died, and Loretta rescued Dickie from an abusive father relationship.
So you think they know each other, like before all of this, that they are just pretending not to know each other?
Since Ben's casting in the play, I think Loretta has revealed the truth to Dickie. Yes.
Because so when you say rescue.
Oh, no, she rescued him as a child, got him away from this abusive father as a child, got him into be adopted by Ben's mom.
Okay. So that's where I was like, when you say rescued, you're not saying she took him in
and raised him.
No. She put him up for adoption because she couldn't take care of him. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. And then she's kept track of him all these years. And then when she got cast in the show, she weaseled her way into those auditions to get cast in the show to be close to Dickie, and then told him who she is.
I was like,
and that probably all happened before Ben died. I think.
Okay.
I still hold on to the idea that Loretta is behind the death of Dickie, and I think it's 2 women and a man. I think it's three murder. Yeah, sorry, Ben. I think it's 2 women and a man. I think it's Dickie, Loretta, and I think Donna has got something.
I could see Donna. I do like. I have nothing at all in the show that I can pinpoint, but I could see Donna being involved. Surprise. But I do like how we've all just automatically kind of silently agreed that Loretta was stalking Dickie and not Ben. Like,
I never once thought it was
I know.
Ben.
Like we're all like, no, yeah. Like thanks, writers. We know what you're doing. But
so when it comes to the whole Ben falling down on stage the first time, I watched that back. And I watched it over and over and over again. And a couple of things stood out to me on rewatching Ben's whole death and then his reemergence at the party. Paul, put up the Ben fog photo. So Ben comes out onto the stage and there's all this like fog and he's coughing a lot. And he looks like he's having a hard time breathing. I don't know if that fog has anything to do with it or whatever. But then there's the moment where Ben comes back at the party and he does this really obnoxious, like strong hacking, like, "Ugh!" So let me show you what I mean.
You know, you made me just think of something. The fog machine was in that closet bathroom thing that Charles was locked into, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
and he
fog
was
machine comes back,
hacking
yeah.
and coughing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so this is when Ben comes back to the party.
Feel it now, though.
I forgot about that.
Oh, sorry. The nurses, oh my God, they were so.
That stands out to me every time I watch it, and I never mentioned it, and I just want to mention it. The fog machine mentions he was coughing on stage before he falls down, and then there's that. I don't know what this means, but it's significant, I feel,
Maybe
in
it's
some way.
KT.
There's also, I know, there's also a weird
Yeah.
thing where I've mentioned it before, where Oliver takes Ben's face in his hands and says, "Ben, you're alive and you're so soft." I just don't know why you would say that to someone, even though it's Oliver and he says weird shit. It's just
Yeah.
such a strange thing to say. I just,
Mhm.
I seriously have a feeling that this stuff is going to be significant.
Like
Another thing that I think is
they're
gonna-
not putting these weird lines in for just no reason.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. It's just so bizarre. All these weird, bizarre things stack up in this first episode when Ben dies. There's another thing that when Ben gives his whole speech, Maisel recorded it. She hits her little record button. I
Yep.
definitely think that that's going to come back around.
We
probably
haven't
in the next
heard it
episode.
yet. Yeah,
We
like
haven't
that
heard it.
absolutely has to be brought
There's
up.
so this is why I go back and rewatch these things, because there's a clue in there. If
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
camera is showing us Maisel is recording this, it's gonna come
Yep.
back and it's
Homework.
gonna.
And it was very clear. Like you hear the noise,
Yeah,
like and you
something-
see her put her phone back in.
Mhm.
It's like
Something that he says in this little speech here is going to be the thing that hinges that the pulls it all together, that ties it all in. So okay, so about my whole Dickie thing, I would really love it if Dickie was the killer and just super nefarious and evil. I
Yeah.
kind of don't think he is, though. I do firmly believe, as soon as we saw that he wrote CoBro, I was like, I knew it. He wrote Death
he
Rattle.
wrote
I
Death
knew
Rattle.
There's got to be a reason why they are not telling us who wrote this play. It is
Mhm.
so
Mm.
bizarre to not have a writer for a Broadway show. It is just bizarre. So the secrecy of that is significant. It's also, significant that CoBro was a secret, that who wrote it. Ben said that it was him, but
I like that idea.
I do
it's
too.
got to be. And I have a feeling, I was really looking at Cliff this episode. What's all we know about him, right, is that he's super cute in his little ruffled shirt and his little,
Mhm.
he's so cute. And he's also
Like a
creepy with his mom, and his mom
child.
thinks he's a total dumbass. Yeah. So there's every reason to think, though, that wouldn't it just be if it turns out
He's a
that
third
Cliff-
brother.
that Cliff was Dickie's brother. And
Working
I don't know
with
how
Dickie.
still don't know how this whole story goes. I don't have all the details, but at the end of the day, if Cliff was the criminal mastermind,
I would
cute
love that.
little Cliff, just kind of guessing to be, what's the thing that we're not going to expect? And so it's kind of a lame guess, because I'm just guessing against the showrunners. I'm just trying to play this game here of what's the least expected plot line that I can think will be the twist, and
But I
Cliff
like
being
that.
the bad guy.
And he and Dickie
Twisty.
working together somehow, or somehow
Yeah.
being connected, I could
Well-
see, just because we don't see them interact at all.
Hmm.
Right. We
You
don't
know,
get
I'm
anything
just
from them.
like-
Yeah.
When you mentioned the CoBro, and I know when we think of co, I think of two for some reason, just couple.
Right.
But I was
yeah.
looking up the Latin meaning. It says just
It
joint,
could be multiple.
joint, and jointed together.
Like if
So,
you have
yeah.
co-defendants, that could
Mhm.
mean 2 to
Multiple.
25. Yeah.
Right?
So I think co-bro murderers,
Maybe.
possibly.
Yeah.
So then that
Yeah.
begs the question, is it there? Because there was that poster that, and actually in the set tour video, we saw a lot more of the set, and we
Mhm.
saw that
I saw that
that,
menage a trois one, or
the crass menage a trois. We really get a clear shot of that. It's 2 women and a man with these big open laughing mouths. So it's possible that Loretta is not involved in this at all. Or I mean, yeah, it's possible that it's instead of 2 women, it's 2 men and a woman, against what the poster is trying to tell us. But I like to think that the poster is sending us some kind of a message. It
Yeah.
freaks
but
it out
look,
to me.
look who's next to each other: Donna, Cliff, and
Mhm.
KT.
Yeah.
Or 2 women and a man.
Yeah.
Now that you brought up the fog machine, KT absolutely 100% is one of the only people who probably be in control of that.
Yeah.
She knows and has access to everything in that theater.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for it to be like the poster and have it be 2 women and a man, but it also could be the 2 brother killers and then a woman helping. So Donna maybe, and then Loretta has nothing to do with it. Right. I don't know. I'm kind of, the more we go on, I'm kind of starting to think maybe Loretta is actually totally innocent. I was totally wrong about that. I just still think that it would be a great double bluff because the show has never done that. It's never given us a very obvious choice. So obvious we could never think it's her, and then at the last minute, dun dun dun, it's the obvious choice. I would love for that to be the case.
That's why I think I just feel like there's so much mother imagery that it's pointing to her.
Well, and what's the
Dickie's
only mother? No, but what's
him.
But this is what I'm saying. I think that the Salome Herod stuff is aunt. And there is that thing on her refrigerator that says Aunt Loretta.
Yeah.
And
which could also be a red herring. I don't know.
It could, I mean, sure, but it's so tiny. It's like so subtle.
That handwriting also still, like, it bothers me.
But you're saying all the mother imagery. Yes, this show is littered with mother imagery. Who's the only mother we get in the show? Donna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the only literal mother.
Yeah.
So
that's
if
it could be
she could be
or
the
label
big
a
bad.
mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really looking at Donna and Cliff as like the big bads.
It would be interesting.
It would
just because all we've gotten from them is silly, cute,
weird,
and been in the background, comedic, like we talked about earlier,
right?
With distraction by comedy, they throw you off the scent by sprinkling in these comedic moments or making the characters seem silly or insignificant. Mm-hmm. We saw that with Poppy for sure, and
we even saw with Jan too.
Yeah. So
you see with Jan.
I could see Donna. I do like the idea of Donna and Cliff somehow being involved, but I think I like it because I feel like it would very much so parallel. Let's say they are just a creepy, incestuous mother-son combo. If it's mother-son, Donna, Cliff, mother-son, Loretta, Dickie, somehow connecting. And that's just kind of my literary brain wanting to find patterns and
a couple more things I have that are questionable is why. Okay, so Dickie points out this time thing to Maisel, and I'm so bummed. Okay, I zoomed in on it a couple of episodes ago when I was looking at those tattoos because trying to figure out, I'm like, this twin thing is bullshit. The only thing that we have to go on for the twin thing is the tattoos, and I think it's going to be explained in some way. Maybe it's a production error, whatever. I just don't think that he's a twin. So when I was looking at those tattoos, I was like, oh, that watch. When someone, it's so Agatha Christie, when someone dies and their watch stops.
Reese's,
and the cops always think that's the time of death because they're wearing a watch. And if it stopped, then when they fell, that's.
Oh, it bothered me so much.
And I was
also,
and
I've never
seen
that happen in real life.
No, it's bullshit.
Also,
and it's always the thing that hinges on the, oh no, this is the real clue. The time was wrong for this reason, and he didn't die then. He died at this time. So when this came up in this episode, I was kicking myself for not mentioning it sooner. But why would Dickie point out to Maisel, Ben always set his watch 20 minutes slow, so he would always be late or whatever. So why would Dickie point that out? And then immediately after he said, and this guy was in the building, Greg was there at this time, so it's got to be him, come on. And that, why would Dickie make that such a point to Maisel if he were the killer? And he, you see what I'm saying? Because if that was his whole plan, though, to frame Greg because of the time thing, why would you point out to Maisel, my brother's watch was wrong? Like, why would you wouldn't, I just don't.
But I could see that coming out as just like him venting, and it's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And he probably, I don't think he would immediately leap to Maisel being able to make that connection. Like, he doesn't know that she has access to a photo of him after he's dead. There's no reason he would think that Maisel would have any sort of real proof. I don't know.
That's true. That's a good point, Kara. That's a good point. You make a good point. Thank you for that, because I mean, I'm hoping that it's Dickie. I hope he's the killer. That's my hope. I think that's the most
I would
plausible.
like that.
If Dickie's the killer, he was pissed at Ben because, oh, okay. So this is what I was going to say about the whole death. The fact that Ben was like coughing and everything weirdly. It could be that was something to do with what was done to him. Someone did something to him, something to do with the fog. Maybe the fog itself was poisoned. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah.
And why was he hacking so much at the party? Like, that means something to me.
Maybe he was intubated and his throat was raw. So
that's kind of logical, but I think you're right, Jade, because it was kind of very.
It was obvious that
it was our first like audible, like kind of clue that there was something wrong. He was coughing.
But this is the thing. There's all of these play references to people wearing facades, people wearing masks, people wearing costumes, actors not appearing to be on the outside what they really are on the inside. So what if, when you watch that death, watch it closely. It kind of looks staged. It's on a stage done by an actor. And it's kind of a little melodramatic. If it was all staged by Ben, the blood was fake blood.
I could see that.
Or it's like in Romeo and Juliet, where he actually did take a drug that makes him appear dead for a time. The death drug, whatever that was in Romeo and Juliet. I'm sure it's still around.
I can't even remember.
So maybe he's sabotaging the show. Ben is. He's like, without me, there's no show. So I'm going to throw this bitch. Something happened because
could be connected with Donna.
Well, and Loretta, because he strangled Loretta before the show. So maybe something to do with Loretta, and Dickie pissed him off. He didn't want to do the show. Nobody really wants to do the show. Jonathan doesn't want to do the show. Kimber's not into the musical. Charles is like, I don't want to do 8 shows a week. No one here wants to be here. This is the craziest fucking Broadway show. So Ben doesn't want to do the show. Dickie's pissed at Ben because that's his livelihood. Like, he's the manager. You ruin the show. You're ruining me. So he pushed him down the elevator because he ruined the show, and that's Dickie's hanky. Or like what you're saying, Kara, the hanky was planted for some reason. I don't know why that would be, but it's a good point. But yeah.
Well, I don't know if I think it was planted.
Oh, I thought that's what you were saying. I thought you were saying it looked so much like a prop with the blood.
No, I was very, like, it took me out of it for a second, but the way that the fingerprints are, it seems like somebody was...
Like, well, whoever held it had a bloody hand.
Yeah, like
already had a bloody hand. Yeah.
It wasn't him blotting his hand, because
it was clear, like a shove. You know what I mean?
Where
you make an imprint and that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's possible. I'm picking up on a lot of theatrical references though, and I'm just wondering if could we look at all of this whole thing with Ben dying and then miraculously coming back to life as all being an act, all being theater.
It's a miracle.
And Ben maybe getting pushed on the
Miracle
elevator.
Ben.
Yeah, Miracle Ben. Yeah, maybe Ben getting pushed on the elevator was something, it was supposed to come off as something else, and then an accident occurred that actually killed Ben.
Yeah.
So maybe it was some kind of a performance gone awry. I don't know. Also, it makes kind of sense to me that maybe Donna was involved. If the show was going to be canceled and unsuccessful, she might have been relieved, and then when Ben comes back to life, she's like, nope, this can't fly, and then she actually makes sure that he's good and dead.
But Donna calls all the shots though with Cliff, so
right. Donna and Cliff, man, they're so suspicious to me after this episode. So we have a couple of unanswered questions from last episode. Who is that theater ghost? It's not Jerry. I thought about it. Jerry can't be 2 places at once.
Yeah, that's.
And there, I feel, was a scene where Jerry, we're supposed to see him as being in one spot, and then we see the person kind of like skid across doing the little click clack clack of their feet, running slow, like a little trot. I feel like the way that it was filmed, it looks like it can't be Jerry. So who is that other person in the theater, and is that significant? Also, Paul Rudd was credited on the last episode, but he didn't appear. And episodes where Paul Rudd and Meryl Streep don't appear, they're not credited in the opening.
We confirm? We confirm that
he's. Oh, I mean, just unless I'm missing something, to my eyes, when they're not in an episode, they don't get credited.
I don't pay close enough attention. I should.
Yeah. Anyone out there, if you know more than I do, let us know. But I'm just wondering if maybe that person in the shadows was Paul Rudd.
Because like we talking about that episode about how that flash, I thought it looked like him in his little detective outfit.
I mean,
or
maybe.
his stunt double.
Another thing I want to know, who the hell organized this documentary? Who hired Taubert? Because people are talking about Taubert and they're assuming, well, since Ben hired him to do the documentary, and I'm like, we don't know that. Well, since Dickie hired him to do the documentary, I'm like, we don't know who hired Taubert. Who is organizing this documentary? It's pretty damn sure though that Taubert knows more than he's
somebody with money.
Yeah.
Somebody with money. Yeah. Who's making this shit? Who's calling the shots? Who is Taubert's boss? That Cindy Canning, maybe? We don't know. Yeah. And then I thought back again, the Loretta strangling moment. I just have a question here. The fucking pig insult. The words fucking pig are very specific words that me as a person, I would call a man a fucking pig if they were being inappropriate, like sexually abusive, whatever, aggressive. That's when I would. So just the fact that she calls him a fucking pig is just an interesting insult. Just food for thought. Why? I don't know. It just seems strange, like to have him put his hands on her and then to have her say, "Get off of me, you fucking pig."
Yeah.
Like, I would. Did he? If a guy put his hands on me,
towards
well,
her?
I know.
There's a dick pic whole thing going on,
which is not surprising. That was very in character that Ben would send unsolicited dick pics. And maybe as the play went on, he became impressed with Loretta and made a move, which seems unlikely. But you're right. Like, if I were to call a guy a fucking pig, it would be because they said something like sexually inappropriate to me, or
if they were just being abusive, then I would say, "Get off of me, you asshole!"
Or you dick, or something,
you motherfucker, something
that like pig would not be the thing to come out of my mouth unless they were being like sexually inappropriate.
Right. Another question that I have from last episode is the toxicology report thing. The fact that we got the Dickie is the fixer, the Mr. Fix-It in Ben's life. He covers things up. So the toxicology report could be messed with. Celebrity toxicology reports. It wouldn't be the first time, so it's possible that Dickie was behind that. So people wouldn't know that Ben was taking a certain medication.
I could see it.
Who knows? But I am pretty convinced that there was no poison. I'm really leaning more toward that this was all an act, that Ben never really died. He was doing it himself. He wrote fucking pig himself. He did it all himself. At least the first death. I think
first quote unquote murder attempt, or
I think he was pushed to a certain point of desperation and anguish and freaking out by someone else, of course. But the fact that he dropped down and then was mysteriously appeared to be dead, I think that Dickie was taken in just like the rest of us. He's pronounced dead, and then all of a sudden, no, I'm not. I think it was Ben's plan. And the last thing I will say is that the next episode is called Sitz Probe, and just letting everyone know out there who's not a theater person, in opera, a Sitz Probe, I'll read the Wikipedia definition, is a rehearsal where the singers sing with the orchestra, focusing attention on integrating the two groups, the singers and the orchestra. It's often the first rehearsal where the orchestra and singers rehearse together. It's the equivalent Italian term is provare alla italiana. It's an opera thing. So just letting everyone know that's what Sitz Probe means. So you can expect some dress rehearsal action.
I love it. They're all going to be together again.
Yes. All right. So with that, we have to say goodbye to Erica.
Got to do some mommy duties.
Got the mommy duties. She's a good mom, though, not an abusive, crazy
mom
who belittles her
weird,
children.
creepy mom or no. I gotta go.
No, she's a loving mama.
Yes.
All right.
Love you guys.
Go.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, baby. All right. Okay. So delightful to see how much delicious listener feedback we got. Oh, I'm so happy. Listeners, my loves, you have no idea how it's all I need is knowing that people care, people listen, and people want to engage with us. It's fun. It's thrilling. It's my favorite part of podcasting is getting to interact with our audience, and we have the best listeners. And I love when you guys use your voices and you sing out Louise. It just made me so happy. So our first email is from my babe, Liz Todd. She says, hello, Enchanting
Liz.
Erica, Kick-Ass Kara, and Jackpot Jade the Pirate. Arg! You guys really have some good theories. I listened to the pod twice because you two were throwing ideas out faster than my brain could absorb them. I know we did. We do that. We did
We
it
got
again.
a little excited.
A little bit. We did. You got another one for you this week. Probably going to be a lot to get through. Woof. I need to rewatch all available episodes. I feel lost at times. Don't we all? You're not alone there. I've watched these episodes more than I should. Before I jump into episode 6, I want to comment on Loretta's scrapbook and stalker-style mementos of Ben's career. Yes, Stalker would do that, but so would a close family member. Yes. Maybe she's not as crazy as she looks now. Maybe she's a proud aunt or possibly his birth mother. Right on. Season 3, episode 6. I wish these episodes were longer. With every turn of the page, we get just enough information to mess with our damn heads. Did I miss something? When Charles returned President McKinley to the tank, I didn't see any other fish in the water. Nope, you didn't miss anything. Overall, I'm somewhat disappointed with season 3. It's a bit disjointed. Where are the other 61 fucking fish? Oh, Joy took them.
Yeah, Joy took them. She left him with the lone troublemaker.
Yeah, the guy with the attitude problem. In episode 5, we saw Joy leave with nothing after she clocked Charles in the chest with several adorable cakes. They were adorable, those cakes.
Yeah.
Talk about pastry wars. Liz, I love you. Oh, I did love almost everything that went on in the theater, even before Oliver mentioned the Phantom of the Opera as he ascended the stairs. He mentioned Phantom of the Opera?
I don't remember.
Oh, he said, I know Krav Maga.
Yeah.
Not Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Liz?
I know Krav Maga. Cracks me up.
I know Phantom of the Opera. I think that's what she's talking about. I don't know. I heard Phantom music in my head. Yes. I think that episode, though, had a lot to do with Phantom of the Opera. I think it was
felt
a bit
very Phantom-y.
Oh, yeah.
Like an homage.
Yeah,
perhaps.
a little homage when Jerry was trotting around with his little clicky heels. To be fair, I've seen that show an embarrassing number of times in 3 different cities. I was obsessed with it in the 90s.
Nice.
Yes. I'm not sure when I'll see episodes 7 and 8. I hate falling behind, but I have a vacay coming up. I will be on a cruise ship to Alaska. Oh, jealous.
Ooh, I want
Wi-Fi
to do that.
Wi-Fi on cruise lines is not at all dependable, and they have the balls to charge for it. It's a fucking money grab, indeed. What the hell is wrong with me? I live in Virginia. I must fly to Seattle and then board a floating death trap. My hope is someone other than me goes overboard so I can investigate it.
Liz.
We can all dream.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I love this. I will try to tune into the pod, stream Hulu, and live to fight another day. The Roanoke Greenway hero, Liz. Liz! I love reading Liz's emails because she writes exactly like I know she talks. And it's kind of the way I talk too. Yeah. You're my girl, Liz. Love you, babe.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So next is from Kimberly Rizzo. She said, greetings, my favorite podcasters.
Hey, babe.
She said, please forget my message. It was cut off probably because I recorded too much. She also sent in a voice message.
Yes.
Said, Jade, I insist you reconsider the jade egg thrown by Dickie. Nothing is coincidence. Which, what if that, did you say it was a showrunner or producer? Like, what if they're trying to throw us off? I don't like it. Those tricksters.
Highly possible.
She said, Charles is definitely losing his mind, sadly. Aunt Loretta card, maybe from Mabel. That's interesting. I want to know why you think that. Please tell me more. She said, also, I'm trying to figure out what the pressed flowers on the scrapbook of Ben Glenroy are to find out the symbolization.
Oh,
I'm
flower
symbolization. Let us know if you figure it out.
Yeah.
She said, your positive energy is contagious in a world when we become so easily jaded, which, by the way, is the complete opposite of our jewel Jade. She has hands like an American Girl doll. Love always, and hope the voice memo isn't too much, Kim.
Kim, you're
so funny.
Such a dear. All right, let's see what this voice message says. My hands like an American Girl doll. I do indeed.
But don't you have long fingers?
I do. I have very long hands.
Is that a saying, like an American Girl doll? Because I feel
It
like
is
mine
now.
were little, like they had little stubby hands. And you
Little
do
stubby
not.
hands. No, I have long fingers.
If you were a wizard in Harry Potter, you'd be very powerful because long fingers are symbols.
Oh, are they? I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so I don't know this. All right, let's hear what she says in her voice message.
Hi, ladies. I
Hi.
listened to your newest updates and show. I haven't been able to watch it because I've been listening to it at work. And you all have inspired me to rewatch this episode one more time, the 6th episode.
Yay.
And I think I may even go through all of them from the beginning and try to do a cut by cut or frame by frame image of everything. And I think that the Shakespearean, the sonnets and the numbers, there is no coincidence in this show. Everything's very strategically planned. They play chess, not checkers.
I love that you can hear it in the background.
I know.
Don't ever doubt yourselves when you are applying your higher processing of this depth of information.
Oh,
it did cut off.
thank you. Thank you for saying don't doubt yourself, because I was just after we recorded the theories, we took a break and I was like, do you think I went too far? Am I crazy? Do I sound like a crazy person? Because I love to do research. Research is my favorite part of acting. And I was saying to the girls before we recorded, if I wasn't an actor, I would be like a historian. And I love classic theater, classic play, Shakespeare, all that stuff. So when I get to do research like this, I do so much of it and I'm looking so deep into things because this is my fun. This is my relaxation time. This is my downtime, you know? So I was wondering if I should stop because I'm a crazy lady, but thank you.
Never stop.
Kimberly, for, I need to just let my freak flag fly. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And thank you so much, Kimberly, as always, for being you. Kimberly and I message all the time. If you want to message us as well, Facebook, do it. Talk to us. Kimberly is in our Patreon Facebook group. She's a patron, marvelous member. So if you want to talk to us about things that we don't say on the podcast, some of the hot takes that we have that are not, that I guess I'm too afraid to say them on the podcast because I don't want to get canceled like Cindy Canning. So I just say them to our patrons in our chats.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that. Hey, Jade kept it under 5 minutes. Melanie, I love you.
I know. Okay. Next, we have a voice message. 1 second. Oops, sorry. I clicked over there. This one. Okay, next we have a voice message from Melanie Brown and hopefully Michael as well.
Do you want to
our
keep
fourth and
sharing
fifth co-hosts?
your screen?
Hi guys, it's Melanie. I'm sending in just kind of general feedback, mostly for the last episode, episode 6, but a few of the other ones, because it's been a couple weeks since I've sent in feedback, and I'm sorry, I was doing the Hunchback of Notre Dame, or Notre Dame, and it's done now, so
Congrats.
I have a little bit of free time before the next, but I wanted to just give a couple of thoughts about the last few episodes. I think everyone, from what I could tell on the forums and different things, is kind of in agreement, but I don't know. Loretta, I just still don't trust her, but Loretta is the mother of Dickie. Not Ben, but Dickie, and, she adopted him out, and is just sad that, Dickie is Dickie and Ben is an asshole. So, I do not know if, part of me wonders if she may have killed Ben so that Dickie would have time to shine. But that is merely speculation on my part, and it's a little crazy, so I don't know. Little out there. I'm not going to try to speculate on her being, or Ben being Oliver's son, because that's just strange. We're not going there. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. So one person that I know a lot of people don't trust, and it could be his blue eyes or whatever, but I just
those eyes.
really, really like Tobert. And
Not alone.
Yeah.
But there's something with him, right? Like, I think, so, yeah, there's something with him, and
Something with him.
so I had this weird thought that maybe he was bear with me, it's kind of crazy, kind of out there,
Hey.
a private
company.
investigator. And I don't know, a private investigator and a videographer. I know that, the reason why I thought that is one of my friends used to be married to a guy who was a private investigator, and he did a lot of videographer work, like, on the side. And
Interesting.
part of that is because he had to take a lot of videos while he was casing people out. He worked for, like, insurance fraud, and workman's comp fraud. And so, like, nothing glamorous, a murder investigation, but definitely something that someone might hire. And I was wondering if maybe he was hired before to kind of, like, investigate Dickie or investigate Oliver or Ben specifically. Probably Ben. I don't know what illegal activities Ben might have been involved with, but
Yeah, who knows?
there's just something with him that feels like just the way that he was so focused and was able to really pick up on the details. And yeah, that could be in the videography thing, but also, like, he was just so aware of the surroundings and what everyone was doing and what they were talking about. So
True.
I don't know. It was mostly the scene at the diner, at the restaurant, that made me think that. But if he is an investigator, then that means he's probably at this point investigating Jonathan, I would assume, or maybe the doctor. I don't know. The guy that was with Jonathan. Who was it? Was it the doctor?
Dr. C, Dr. K.
Yeah, he was the doctor. He was, like, helping him,
Dr.
right?
KFC.
Okay. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I could be way off basis. I think he was hired to investigate something going on with Ben.
That's interesting.
Either hired by Ben or hired by Dickie. And then, now it's started to, like, try to figure out his murder. So, I don't know. That's just a weird thought I just kind of had, and I haven't really fully fleshed it out. But I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Bye.
Bye, Melanie. Michael, hi. Usually Michael speaks up, but maybe I don't know why he didn't that time. I love hearing from them. Oh my gosh, it's not a podcast without Melanie and Michael. That's very interesting that he could be an investigator. Yeah, there's something about Tobert. I don't think he's a murderer, but he knows something. Just like the way he had that stupid story about taking, the camera into the dressing room. Like, obviously, he knows what is on that footage. He gave it so clearly to Maisel. Like, here, look at this footage, the secret footage that I didn't want you to know about. Oh boy,
Interesting.
And that whole thing is it's going to be cookies. It's nothing. So why is Tobert trying to divert Maisel from investigating the way she wants to, because he's influencing her. I'm hoping that we see Maisel not let him do that anymore. And I really hope she's not living with him. I hope she's living with Theo, because Theo's the only smart one.
That would be fantastic. I would love.
It makes sense, right? Because we've already seen Maisel and Theo together in his apartment, and we're used to that idea, and we like them together. Yeah, just crashing at a friend's house while she's trying to figure out what to do. And I don't think that Theo and Maisel need to necessarily be romantic together. I'm sure Theo would love it, but.
And I don't get that vibe from them at all.
You don't? See, I always have a little.
I feel like they're very just friendly, platonic. Like, they just get each other. And
they just get each other. Totally.
Any romantic.
No, you didn't when they went to the theme park? And they were looking at each other really intensely? I thought they were going to kiss.
Connected. Oh, God. I did not. I don't know. I'm also very neurodivergent. So you never know how that influences me seeing all of these like social and romantic cues. I know it has an impact because I see it differently sometimes.
I don't necessarily think Maisel needs to be romantically attached to anybody, so I'm not like shipping them or anything. I just think
I still want to know how the hell a wedding dress comes into play at some point. Like,
if she were marrying Theo, I wouldn't be that mad at it.
But it's so random. Or is it like some sort of plot to get the killer to show? Like, I don't know. I would love to see.
I know. I think it's all theater. It's all theater, Kara. I truly do. I started once you start watch that death scene again, y'all. Watch it again, and you will see what I'm talking about. It's just a little too stagey. That blood is just a little too perfectly spurted on the side of his face.
Yeah. Well, and in the trailer, when you pause it on, Maisel coming in the wedding dress, flanked by Oliver and Charles, it looks like a courtroom to me.
Does it?
Yeah. And I was just like, I have no clue where they're going with this, and we only have 3 episodes left, and they haven't set it up enough for Maisel to actually get married. So I don't know.
Well, certainly not. I just can't believe it's a real wedding. Have you watched those little TikToks? There's one TikTok anyway on like the behind the scenes filming that little moment where Maisel runs to the taxi. And I'll send it to you. I'll link it so everyone can watch it, because it's like a little short of just Martin Short, and Steve Martin has a line where he pulls a piece of paper out of his pocket and goes, he gave me his phone number, and he says a name, I think, but I can't make it out because whoever was filming it was like, this is like on the streets of New York. It's just someone walking by, and they filmed the filming of the scene. Yeah. And so then a woman comes out of the taxi and she goes, you out, you in, don't step on her dress. That's what this TikTok is. And they show it once out of costume. They're doing a dress rehearsal, and then they show it once in costume. So
interesting.
I have no idea what all this means, but they're rushing Maisel into a taxi for some reason in that wedding dress.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating. Okay, Melanie Brown sent one more voice message. She said, feel free to edit this out. It just made me super mad. Okay, well, let's see what we got here.
So, I just had something really, really quick to say.
Go for it.
Michael paused it on the article at the end of the one episode. So we could, read what the article, one of them was mumbo jumbo, but the other one was, a ridiculously written article, but it was at least, something read, and it literally said the man went to like Tennessee and went there and started talking and saying horrible sexist things about
Dolly Parton,
the Queen of America, the Queen of East Tennessee herself, Miss Dolly Parton.
Okay, wait. I seriously, when she started this telling us what she was commenting on the article, the first thing, I almost paused it and said, is she about to go off on a Dolly Parton love fest and say, how dare you? Because did I not say when we podcasted, I made a point to remind everyone of how big of an asshole Ben actually is. And I said, because in that article, it said something bad. He said something bad about Dolly Parton, and you do not.
Don't go after Dolly.
Melanie, see, this is why I love you, babe, because you get it. And I will always. Okay. Sorry, I just want to be Dolly Parton sometimes.
Who the hell does that? That is, you know what? I'm glad. I'm glad that he's dead. And I'm mostly joking, but I just had to say this. I was like, that just says a lot about a person. I don't know too many people that actually have horrible things to say about the woman. Who I'm pretty sure he just doesn't know. He just doesn't like her for some reason. So
evil. For shame.
I'm over it. Yeah. But I just had to say that, I mean, who does that? Who comes out and says horrible things about Miss Dolly?
No.
And that is
psycho.
That's just terrible.
Psycho.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, Melanie. Thanks, Melanie. Babe, anytime you want to come on and defend some, yes, Dolly Parton is You don't touch that. You don't touch her. She's ours.
I agree.
I mean, she is her own, but
Yeah.
I love her dearly. That, oh my gosh, Melanie, thank you so much. Okay. Oh, I'm loving all this FeedCRACK. Do you see how high I am right now, Kara?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like floating. I'm like Lucy in the sky with
Oh my gosh.
FeedCRACK. Crack, crack, crack.
I like it. It's feeding Jade. So next up,
Catnip.
we have YouTube comments, which is so much fun.
Yes.
So our first one was on our season 3, episode 4 coverage from Say And they said maybe Howard has so much power over the theater for the same reason he can afford to live in the Arconia as a librarian. Family connections? That could explain why Oliver wanted him as an assistant versus just rejecting him. And I don't think numbness is a weird reaction to death at all, especially when your relationship with the dead person is complicated, especially when he's dead, then alive, then dead again. That is true. People
that's
have
commenting
all
on
sorts of
the Kimber thing.
Grief. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we were wondering why Kimber said that she felt numb. She can't feel anything. And that was Kimber's got some interesting points to her that I would really like to explore more. True. This is funny about Howard too. We've never thought about how Howard could afford to live in the Arconia. But yeah, Oliver knows quality when he sees it.
That is true.
And Howard is excellent. So then Saeem has another comment on our season 5 episode regarding who wrote Death Rattle. It seems to imply that it's an old play in the table read scene. Oliver says it's dusty like him. That is true, but I think that what he meant, or what I take it to mean, is that the themes were dusty, not the actual play itself. He says it could be considered dusty because it's like a murder mystery and it's kind of old hat.
Like,
but
you took it as old school, or as opposed to dusty as in just old in actuality.
Yeah, just like the style of it is old. Yeah, I don't think that this is saying that this is a classic play. I still think that the lack of playwright is significant. But good point. And then regarding Dickie maybe being adopted, Loretta says Ben was an asshole to everyone, even his kind-hearted brother. Thank you for pointing this out. I keep forgetting to point this out. This is a point. Yes, God, I keep forgetting to make this note. Yeah, Loretta does this like slip. Meryl Streep, you can see she goes to say stepbrother, and that's got to mean Loretta knew that Ben and that Dickie was adopted.
Do you have that clip? Because I remember seeing it pop up on Facebook, people saying that, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Even his kind-hearted brother.
Yes, so this means that Loretta knew about the adoption before we the audience did. So it's like, how long has she known? She's known for a while. And obviously, in my opinion, she was the one who put him up for adoption herself. Anyway, so as if she was going to say stepbrother. I doubt Meryl Streep would genuinely mess up her line like that, or that it would be kept in the episode. Yes, you are absolutely right. The photo of young Loretta is by the river with a boat in the background, and she mentioned going out on the Mississippi River. One of the articles says Ben gave the commencement address at a St. Louis high school, which is on the Mississippi, and indicates where their paths may have crossed before. I also think Cliff could be related to the whole family thing, and I wonder if Donna was sabotaging Loretta's career and causing all the bad luck.
Interesting.
Ooh, I never thought about Donna and Loretta maybe being at each other. That's interesting.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But yeah, I mentioned that the Mississippi River. I mentioned that in a TikTok that I made, a short, where I was like, I didn't know this at the time, but obviously Mississippi, St. Louis, yeah, it's close. That's totally how she, where they came from.
Yeah, close together.
Dickie. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Saeem.
Yeah,
for commenting on a couple of different videos. I love reading your comments. I agree with most.
Next is Wasted Poe saying, regarding the possibility that Cinda Canning is the murderer, I don't think the writers would do that simply because I assume they'd want to create plots for each season that are self-contained. It just wouldn't be very satisfying from a storytelling or viewing perspective if a murderer in a given season were motivated by threads from past seasons. See, I would love that even more.
Really? I wouldn't.
All the connections, but
yeah,
I can understand the point. They go on to say the murder should make sense to a viewer who hasn't seen any of the other seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And so I think when considering season 3 culprits, it would be logical to focus on characters who have been given adequate setup to be a potential murderer based solely on their season 3 scenes. I know that the existence of Poppy in season 1 would seem to negate this. However, I feel like Poppy's presence in season 1 was more like a fun Easter egg where you barely noticed her. She was given enough fleshing out in season 2 that her ultimate role as the culprit made sense, or as much sense as was possible. I'm still iffy on Poppy's motivations, but that was more due to the construction of season 2. It has nothing to do with her scant appearances in season 1. Also, yes, I use the word season far too much. See, and I feel like Poppy's presence in season 1 set up her motivations.
Right.
To be the killer in season 2.
Yeah. I think that there's truth in what you're saying, Wasted Poe, about the writers thinking that they have to make it, even if you've only just seen one season, you'll be able to follow. You won't have to have watched everything in order to, because that's this kind of a show. This kind of a show doesn't have the kind of world building that links it from season to season. Not too much. It does somewhat, of course, obviously. It's reality show. It's in our current world, but I don't think that enough of the significant plot points should, in Hulu's mind, they're going to think we can't do that to people. We have to play fair, more fair,
Very interesting.
Thank you, Wasted Poe, for commenting yet again. Wasted Poe comments on a couple of different YouTube channels. I see you, Wasted Poe. You commented all over the place, and I love it. I just, that's more. It's like the fun of this show. It's even more than like watching the show. I love talking about this show with people.
I want to hear what everybody thinks, like what all the theories are and all that jazz.
Okay, so Chiria Nicole 7114 said, "Hi Jade. Hello. I don't believe Loretta is the killer. I'm on the same page as Kara." Okay. "I think the mother references were just pointing out her being a mother who loves her child, which I believe is Dickie. I already had a theory of there being 2 killers, and now I also believe there will be 2 people murdered." Ooh, hot
interesting.
Takes. At the bottom of your clues, Ashes to Ashes, it has 1 man and 1 woman in parentheses. In the play Hamlet, Gertrude is having an affair with Claudius, who is the killer. I think Loretta is going to be the Gertrude character who will sacrifice herself in order to save her son Dickie. Yes. 1 man dies, then 1 woman dies.
Oh, she means literally sacrifice herself. As
I'm
in,
like, do you see my mouth just fell open? I'm like, that is, yeah. And that's not the first person. That's not the first person. There was a YouTube video I think I saw where someone said, that there's going to be another person that dies and they're convinced it's Loretta. And I was like,
interesting.
Like, I know, it's these thoughts.
Yeah, I think she'll do some sort of sacrificing for Dickie. I never thought it would get to the point of her sacrificing her life, but that could be interesting.
Okay, also something else that I caught rewatching you and Kara at the beginning of your intro. You said in Hamlet, these characters were putting on a facade. Same with Richard II. Richard II was very theoretical, and that reminds me of Ben. Theoretical. I think that they're saying that Richard is very theatrical, because that's what I was discussing. Richard putting on a theatrical kind of kingly, outside appearance. Yeah. I think that instead of theoretical, I'm gonna assume it's theatrical. So Richard II was very theatrical, and that reminds me of Ben. Yes. He's putting on this caricature for the world to see, and it's made him famous/infamous. In reality, he was a good actor who really cares. The tattoos, of course, would be fake. So maybe rushing, he would switch it around. Yeah. Letting the audience know that they aren't real. Or nothing we know about Ben is real. Yeah, that's a very good point.
I love the idea that Ben is faking his own tattoos and is just an idiot.
Yes.
And Kara, that's it. That is
Yes.
Fantastic.
Tattoo explanation explained.
Yes.
Tattoo explained right there. Yeah, no.
I absolutely love that. It
Because what have
tracks
I been
with his
saying?
character.
Because what have I been saying this whole episode? It's all theater. It's all an act.
Ugh.
Ben is an act. There's nothing real about Ben. And that's what I've been saying since the beginning. It's what bothered me about Paul Rudd's acting was that I feel like this is not a real person.
That's the tattoo explanation that makes
Prize,
so much sense.
You, Cherry Nicole, you win the podcast. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You win nothing.
He's exactly the kind of douchebag that would draw on
absolutely
tattoos.
To be a bro like that. And he probably the CoBro snake was probably fake too. Yes.
I love
this.
it.
This delights me. I love this. Oh, see how I'm high right now. I'm flying high. Okay.
Okay.
Jade.
Yep. Next is Todd Price saying,
Todd.
I'm glad you pointed out the origami in front of Loretta in the table read episode. As I watched that episode, I was also curious as to why she had origami when no one else did.
Right.
I thought as the paper used for the origami seemed celebratory, it might have something to do with what someone has suggested, that Loretta worked wrapping presents at a department store.
Yes.
And she picked up origami along the way.
Okay, pause. In the video, which I've linked to the set tour. So there's a set decorator, Rich Murray, and production designer, Curt Beach. There's a longer video with them, but then Patrick Howe, the production designer on season 3, does this touring the set thing where he leads everyone along and looks at all these different things. You get to see Loretta's apartment way more up close.
Nice.
And I took a picture. Paul put up the refrigerator, Loretta refrigerator 2. Put up that picture now. I saw that cutout thing that said Aunt Loretta that was on her refrigerator. That was in the video too. From a couple of different angles, you can see here, it's like this weird paper shape. Like shapes cut out in paper. I don't know. It kind of does look like something a child would do. So maybe she's had this thing a long time. I'm not sure. Listeners, if you have any idea at all what this is, write in and tell us, because this thing is probably caused me I spent too many minutes looking at this.
Like, what the hell
more than
does
I probably
this
should
mean?
have. Yes. So in this video, the guy on taking us on the tour, he says, because Loretta was a gift wrapper at Macy's, that's how she's been making all her money to survive when in between acting jobs. So it's canon that she's a gift wrapper at Macy's.
Well, that answers his next comment. By the way, has it actually been mentioned in the show that Loretta worked wrapping presents? So
did you know this, Todd Price, from the video like I do, or did you know this before? I don't know.
Let's see. I like it. And anyway, Jade, I would like to add to the FeedCRACK that I couldn't agree more with the comment you read in praise of this channel. Personally, I really appreciate this channel because your content seems bright and crisp. I'm inferring that you work as an actress, and your insight into, that's a great word, into acting and theater for this season is absolutely beautiful. That, along with your intellectual curiosity into the poetry background sitting within this season's run, is very stimulating to watch and listen to.
Oh, good.
That's so sweet. You should save that for when you're having a bad day.
Well, when I doubt that people are going to care about the things that I put up on my on my podcast sometimes, I'm like, God, Jade, maybe you should shut the fuck up occasionally. No.
He goes on to say, I have a question. I seem to think Tobert is playing Mabel and using her for some sort of a mysterious angle that's not yet been revealed. I suppose I can understand this, seeing that Tobert seems somewhat exciting, intelligent, and begrudgingly handsome, LOL. But do you think it is possible Mabel is playing Tobert with an angle towards believing him to be the murderer?
So you think she's honeypotting him?
I wish that was the case.
I do too.
But
Mabel is just not that bitch.
Yeah.
She ain't that bitch. That's not how Mabel rolls.
Yeah.
Mabel's got it. She's got it for this guy. I feel at the end of this episode, though, I felt like she looked at him when she was like, I'm gonna record this podcast on my phone. That's how much I want to be away from you. I'm gonna make a phone podcast right now. Gotta go. So I think Mabel's catching his drift.
Yeah.
I think she's got his number. Thank you, Todd Price. Love it. Thank you for that was the most truly, that's probably like the nicest thing anyone said to me in a really, really long time. The nicest. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you're watching. Just thank you. Okay, next comment from JT. Jade and Kara, thank you for your insights into Shakespearean connections. Oh, and to Sonnet 43. You liked it too. Okay, I'm glad.
Aww.
Seriously, this is so gratifying. All right. It's refreshing to see you talk about clues that most other viewers don't talk about, such as the snake egg, which I think is a clue that Ben has as a child. That Ben had as a child. In episode 3.
Interesting.
Okay. And when we first see the egg, it stays in the camera frame as the camera pans around for almost 10 seconds.
Ben has a kid.
Before the focus shifts to Maisel and then the huge portrait of Ben. Later, Maisel picks it up and describes it as a marble snake egg from CoBro. If it wasn't important, why describe it to the audience? That's what I'm saying from the beginning.
Yeah.
I know. We see the egg again, but out of focus this time, as Dickie enters the apartment. Later, Dickie picks it up and smashes it with the lamp. Then there's a potential Dr. Seuss reference, as in Green Eggs and Ham, equaling
like
pig.
that.
Oh, what? In Dr. Seuss's books, there's a character called Horton, who is an elephant. Look at you go. All right.
I love Horton.
And thing 1 and thing 2, possibly hinting at twins. Ooh, I love it. Also, at the party in episode 1, Ben refers to Cliff as boy twice. Could Ben be his dad? Hot takes. With regard to the Menage poster, what?
No, I'm just sitting there thinking about some outrageous situation where Ben and Donna fathered Cliff or something. That's why Cliff is so insufferable. Those are his parents. Whew.
Right? Poor Cliff.
Rough childhood.
Rough go. Yeah. In regard to the Menage poster, there is a clever view of it in the Architectural Digest video featuring a tour of the only murders in the building set, season 3. Yes, we were just talking about this. Yes. At 1 minute and 40 seconds of the video, there's a shot of the Comedy of Errors poster in Oliver's apartment. Ooh, I missed that.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yep.
And this Shakespearean play features 2 sets of twins. Note that one of the actors is also called Ben. Get the fuck out. Oh my God, you're so right. Oh, wow. This is blowing my mind. Sorry, my mind's a little blown. As for my theory on Ben's killer, wow. I think the mastermind could be Donna. Oh, my level. I started with a theme of mother/nanny resorting to murder to protect a child, plus the imagery of the mother elephant rescue her child from the mud. But instead of Loretta as the mother, I focused on Donna. What if Maxine's review from episode 1 was leaked? Yeah, right. I've heard this as well. I think it might be true. It was leaked and Donna received. I brought this up when I heard about this theory. So the Maxine's review was leaked. Was leaked. Sorry, but it was leaked. Donna received a copy of the dismal review on opening night. This could be what she was shredding in KT's office. Oh,
I like that.
Damn, you're good. In order to rescue Cliff's production effort from being a colossal failure, she decided to sabotage the play and recoup the losses from the insurance company. A producer situation. I think I brought that up like episode 1 or 2. I remember saying that. And I thought of it again this week because Matthew Broderick. The person in Ben's dressing room that night could have been Donna. Okay. I think it was Cookies, but
yeah. She may have brought there at some point too.
She may have brought poison cookies, but put poison in Kimber's serum, or she may have instructed Ben to fake a death scene as she had heard that the reviews were going to be bad. Oh, Donna was, yes, I love this theory.
That idea.
Oh, I love this theory. Yeah. I don't think there are any poison cookies. No, I think exactly what you're saying here. Yeah, she needed more time to rework the play. Wow, yeah. As to how she pulled off the actual murder at the elevator shaft, I don't have a theory yet, but she may have recruited accomplices, maybe KT, Taubert, Dickie, or Jerry Blau with KT and Jerry, and she could have promised them directorial jobs if they did her bidding. Yeah, she's got the power. You also made a good point that the person who wrote the Death Rattle play could be a person of interest. Since the play is DeMeo production, there's a good chance that she could have written it. Yeah, her or Cliff. That's what I'm thinking. Or Dickie. I think that Dickie and Cliff wrote it together because they're brothers. That's just that's me going real crazy though. And if Donna was behind the whole thing, she may once again sabotage the Death Rattle Dazzle play if she felt it might not succeed, like framing Loretta for Ben's death. You're not the first person to say that maybe Loretta and Donna had beef. I love this. Can I just say, JT, babe, I love you. Love this. I love it. I'm high on FeedCRACK right now, guys. I'm high. This got me so excited.
I like the Donna master. I love the idea. I hadn't heard that.
And you backed up all your evidence here.
And being shredded. That I like that.
This is really good. This is really, really good shit. I need to make show notes on Facebook. I'm definitely putting this comment on Facebook. It will be posted. It will be there. So yeah, if you want to read more from this episode, I'll put all of the reviews that I'm about to read on there.
Yeah.
Facebook, follow us.
Yeah. All right. So our next bit of feedback comes from Instagram, Melissa Lene. She said, my theory about the hanky thing. I think Ben was holding his own hanky. I think Greg, the guy that kidnapped Charles and Mabel, bought Kimber's hanky off of eBay or whatever and just said that Ben gave it to him. So the hanky holds no significance to the murder.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's significant just because of the bloody fingerprints in some way, but I would agree that Greg probably bought Kimber's and pretended.
She would have written this, Melissa Lene would have written this without seeing this episode yet, obviously. So, yeah.
But I think
that's the only way that the hanky is significant, though. I don't think it's going to hold as much significance. I think it's going to have nothing to do with the murderer.
Yes. But, I don't know. The show. But yeah, I 100% agree that Greg bought Kimber's hanky.
Yeah. Pretty sure of that. All these hankies. We still don't know about Howard's hanky because they said they got all the cast's hankies. Howard's not in the cast, so
neither is KT.
And neither is KT, right? So there are the two hankies that are unaccounted for. But I don't suspect them. That's what I'm saying. The hanky is going to be from someone that has nothing to do with being the murderer.
Yeah.
It's going to be a whole thing where the hanky. It was what I think is they're going to show us an awesome flashback of Ben's death, and they're going to walk us through that party scene again. And I can't wait to see it. I know it's coming, and I know. Show it to me. Just show me already. Tell me. I want to know so bad what happened at that party. Ooh, almost as bad as I want to know what happened at Studio 54.
Oh yeah.
Whose party was it?
I can't remember what he said now.
Oh. Joan Jett? No. Who was the celebrity name?
I'm gonna kick myself. I don't remember.
Hold on, let me look it up. Grace Jones, not Joan Jett. Oh my God, listeners, we just had to look that up because I could not get a face of the person in my mind. Though I was like, I knew when you say this person's name to me, I know this person. I just don't know that much about them. So it's not like a specific, I have no real connection to Grace Jones, but obviously I know who Grace Jones is. And I was like, Joan Jett? No, wait, what? It's the oddest thing. The fact that her name was on the tip of my tongue and I just couldn't place it.
It's fair.
I apologize. So where was that coming from again? That was a tangent.
Oh, we were talking about the hanky, and you said how you want to see the, death scene and party scene.
Yes, just as much as I want to see be at Grace Jones' 55th Studio 54 birthday party. That is another hot ticket that I would like to have had. Anywho, all right, that is gonna wrap it up like a Christmas present, wrap it all up like a plate of cookies that you're gonna take to go. We would love, you see how high I am from this FeedCRACK. I would love to hear your thoughts on the next episode, y'all. So if you want to type me something, send it off. Oh, I would appreciate it ever so. I would also appreciate it if you aggressively mistreat and just beat up on those naughty 5 stars. Just show them who's boss. Really give it to those 5 stars. It helps us so much, truly. And if you have it in you, if you got a good review, if you got a couple of lines of love, send them our way. You'll have my eternal love and gratitude, truly. So much goes into making this podcast, like so much work, and editing's not my favorite thing. But like an actor on stage, when you send me feedback, when you subscribe, when you write a review, it's like hearing applause. And an actor does so much work and all we do it for is that applause. So it's kind of the same thing. You're giving me actor, it's like actor catnip. It really is. So
and
thank you for the applause, truly.
For real. And if you do want to share your feedback and theories with us, you
Yes.
can email us at perfectlymarvelouspodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at perfectlymarvelouscast, or join every time. I'm just going to start all of that over. If you do want to send in your feedback and your theories, you can email us at perfectlymarvelouspodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at perfectlymarvelouscast, or join our Only Perfectly Marvelous Murders in the Building Facebook group and leave your theories there and jump into our discussions.
Yes, please do. And send us voicemails. That's what I was going to say. I was like, what was I going to say about the email thing? Yes, please be brave. Send us voice messages. I love hearing y'all's voices. It's so exciting. All right. And if you want to follow me, Instagram, Jade the Naked Lady, all one word, and Jade8 Green on TikTok. I'm a fun follow these days, especially getting into it. Don't forget to come back next time for our marvelous review of season 3, episode 8, Sitz Probe. My loves, my dears, my darlings, my hearts. I've had a marvelous time talking with you. Thank you so much, listeners, for joining us.
So fun. I'm Kara.
And I'm Jade.
#perfectly
bloody
marvelous podcast.
Nailed it.